You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my official prediction for who will win and who I think should win each and every category for the 2025 Academy Awards ceremony. Now, before we jump in to this live stream, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Oh, so the Oscars this year, it's been rough for me. I'm not going to lie. I have not been all that invested in award season 2025 for the 2024 film year. Part of that has to do with some personal stuff that happened at the beginning of this year that's really taken up some mind space, but a lot of that really has had to do with the films. I love some of these films, but the major contenders all season long, I've never loved as much as everybody else and can't really get behind cheering on and being all roo roo rah rah for. So it's been rough. Plus, the drama has been so inundating, just constant drama and mess. We can't get good winners, it seems, anywhere. We have supporting actors sweeping that are actually lead performances. Everything about it has been uninspired. So I'm actually quite behind the 8 ball this year compared to what I've been in, well, probably like a decade, to be honest. I always go out to see the short film packages in movie theaters for all of them, for the documentaries, for the animation, for the live action. This year I haven't seen any of them. Not proud of it, but it's the fact. Also, a lot of these big contenders, haven't seen some of them, which again, haven't been the case since, well, I can't even remember the last time. And the content here on the channel, usually I'm so hyped for award season, pumping out content. And this year, well, this is only what, like the second Oscar video I made. And the other one was also a live stream and was my reaction to the nominees. But we got to do it still, right? This is still the film space. I'm still a film person. So I've got my handy dandy papers here, kicking it old school with the stats, what they've won, who's in the races, all that fun jazz. So I can make a somewhat educated guess at who's actually taking home some gold on Sunday. So let's cut the chit chat and get into some predictions, shall we? Now, if you are watching this live, make sure to chime in over in the comment section and that little chat over there, because I want to hear who you all are rooting for and who you predict to win this Sunday. So, without further ado, let's start off with, well, my least favorite category of the night. And that is original song. Best original song. Horrible. Just absolutely a horrible category. They left off every single good original song I could have thought to put in this category this year. Instead, we got 2 Amelia Perez songs. We have our mandatory Diane Warren song. We have our other mandatory nominee, Elton John, nominated. And then we have Like a Bird from Sing Sing, the outlier, maybe. Well, for my prediction on who I think should win this award, I'm going with Like a Bird from Sing Sing. I'm really not enthused with most of this category, though. I mean, I wanted Wild Robot. I wanted Smile 2. Hell, I wanted Trap. I wanted The Idea of You. I wanted so many others. I would have taken the Miley Cyrus song from The Last Showgirl. Ugh. Instead, we got this. So I think we can all see why the Academy said, you know what? We're actually going to skip performing the original songs this year, and we're just going to do a Wicked medley instead, because that's what the people really want to see. That's certainly what I want to see. We're going to bring in some K-pop stars, some famous folks to just do whatever it is. Because we don't want to hear We don't want to hear Amelia Perez on the actual main broadcast. We don't need to hear Zoe Saldana get up there and start whispering into the mic. And we certainly don't need Carla making her way to the stage. So, who should win? Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Who will win? Well, I think this is one of the ones. Amelia Perez is going to win, Tyler. I think El Mal from Amelia Perez. It has the Critics' Choice. It has the Golden Globes. I don't really think any of these others can beat it. So, Amelia Perez, winning song. All right, now on to happier times. Let's talk about visual effects, shall we? A solid category. I think Alien Romulus. AI hurt you. And the AI was the most criticized part of this film. Yeah, let's stop with this uncanny valley bringing dead folks back in films. Thank you. But I think the rest of the effects looked good. Better Man, Doom Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked, the Year of the Ape. Y'all, quite literally, 3 out of these 5 nominees heavily involve apes and or monkeys, which is absolutely crazy. I think who should win, though, is a no-brainer. It's Dune Part 2. Who will win is also a no-brainer. This is one of those that you can just take it to the bank. Dune Part 2 is winning for Best Visual Effects. And if you watch the film, how could you say literally anything different? Sonic 3 was robbed. Godzilla vs. Kong or Godzilla X Kong also kind of robbed, but it is what it is. All right. Next up, we have makeup and hairstyling, which I do think is a pretty solid category, except Amelia Perez makes another appearance. Oh, but otherwise, A Different Man, Nosferatu, thank you, The Substance, and Wicked. I think who should win and who will win both come down to 2 films. I think it comes down to The Substance and Wicked. They both won at the Makeup and Hairstylist Society, one for contemporary film, one for period or character film. But I ultimately think who should win is The Substance. I mean, that makeup was amazing. The prosthetics were amazing. If you saw that behind the scenes work done, oh, top tier. And I also think The Substance will win for makeup and hairstyling. It won BAFTA. It won at the Makeup and Hairstylist, and it won the Critics' Choice. So I think The Substance gets on the board with makeup and hair. All right, costume design. Another solid category. Now we have A Complete Unknown, which is maybe the most outlier of them. Don't really know. But then we have Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Now, I'm going to go outside the box on this one for my pick on who should win, because, obviously I'm all Wicked out here today. Who should win Best Costumes is Gladiator 2. I thought the costumes in that film were absolutely amazing. They were the costumes that really stuck out in my mind from film in 2024. So for me, who should win? Gladiator 2. Now it has no chance at winning. Its only nomination of the night, and I think it has about a 0% chance of taking this home. I think costume design is pretty much locked up. It won the BAFTA. It won the Golden Globe, or the Costume Design Guild, sorry, and it won the Critics' Choice. Wicked is winning Best Costume Design. And look, I'm not mad at it. Wicked will be taking home an Oscar, at least one, come Sunday. I'm sure of it. And I think costume is the best bet to put your money on. All right, let's move right along to the next tech category with Best Production Design. Another solid category. The Brutalist obviously is about making buildings. It's about actual design and architecture. Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Conclave obviously did an immaculate job with the set. I think Nosferatu and Wicked, stunning. And then Dune Part 2, again, with this big fantasy world they created. Now, I think my picks on who should and will win come down to 2 films specifically. Nosferatu versus Wicked. And for me, it was tough. It really was tough. But ultimately, on who I think should win this award, it's going to Wicked. When I saw everything they built a freaking train. That crazy train. They built Emerald City, the landscapes of Shiz University. It was all just so amazing. They planted how many, like thousands of flowers for the production design for a shot that took like 2 seconds of screen time of like the munchkins running through that flower field. Really amazing work. And I think maybe people's gripes with the cinematography take away from some of their appreciation of the production design, but it's really fantastic. As for who I think will win, well, Conclave did actually win the Art Directors Guild for Contemporary and the Set Designers Association for Best Contemporary Film. Then we had Nosferatu, who also won the Art Direction Guild's Best Period. But I think who will win is Wicked. It has kind of started to establish a lead. It won the Art Directors Guild for Fantasy. It won the BAFTA. It won the Critics' Choice. It won the Critics' Choice. And it won the SDSA, the Set Designers. I think Wicked is taking it. Somebody really compared maybe its run to being like Black Panther, the big blockbuster who gets into Best Picture and then takes home the production and costume design. And I can see it. If there's an upset, I think it could come from Conclave or Nosferatu. But yeah, when it comes to these early ones, we're going to have a little bit of a wicked sweep, I think. All right, next up, we have animated short film. I just said I didn't go see the showcase. I'm very sorry. So I don't have a pick on who should win. I have not seen them. Eek. Who I think will win? Yuck. It kind of has the feel of a win. So that's my educated guess. Yuck is winning Best Animated Short. All right, moving along to the next set of short films I also have not seen. We have live action short film. I'm going with Lean. It seems serious enough. It seems moving enough. I'll say Lean is going to win Best Live Action Short. And then documentary short film. I'm so sorry to the short filmmakers. You deserve all of the praise. You deserve all of the spotlight. I am ashamed of myself for not having seen your films. But for best documentary short film, I'm going with The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I think it probably hits that right note. I can't say for sure, but it feels like it. You know, the intuition says it hits the right note. So, The Only Girl in the Orchestra will win when it comes to documentary short film. Now, for best documentary feature film. This one, I think is tough because I think it comes down to a few films that are tough subjects. I really think after today, if voting would have still been opened after people saw the debacle that happened in the Oval Office today, there would be a runaway winner. But as it is, I think it does come down to Porcelain War and No Other Land as the two favorites. Who I think should win would be No Other Land. I think it's very topical, obviously, and it's in the zeitgeist. But ultimately, I think it's too much. I don't think that cause has as much support in the academy with the older voting academy that we have. So I think Porcelain War is actually going to win this. It obviously also deals with a very crazy situation, kind of autonomy within a war, Ukraine. Again, I think especially if they had seen what took place today before voting, Porcelain would be running away. But, you know, manifesting Katop presents No Other Lands win. Listen, I would live. I would absolutely live for that. I think she and others like her that were hosting very pro-Israeli events last year are what's going to keep it from winning. But we'll see. We'll see. I think it definitely still has a good shot. So it's a toss-up. And yes, let Gal present it. All right. Next up, we have Best Sound. Another really strong category. I was so happy to see The Wild Robot get some love here, as well as A Complete Unknown, Doom Part 2, Wicked, and Amelia Perez. Would have thrown out Amelia Perez for Nosferatu because I thought the sound design in Nosferatu was amazing, and it was definitely snubbed. But here we are. It's all for naught anyway, though, because I think who should win is Dune Part 2. Just amazing work there. And who will win? Dune Part 2. I only have really the BAFTAs to go off of, as well as the AMPS, who's like the sound production guild, and they both voted for Dune Part 2. So who am I to disagree? Okay. I'm just happy that I'm able to predict Dune for a couple of these awards because they got majorly robbed in nominations. Only having 5 nominations when the first Dune had 10, criminal. Absolutely criminal. But at least I have it picking up 2 awards early here in the tech categories. All right. Next up, we have Best Original Score. Always one of my favorite categories, but especially over the last few years, a category that has some really terrible omissions. This really should be Challenger's Award, if we're being serious. Challengers also is kind of the front runner amongst all the precursors, and yet it didn't even get nominated at the Academy Awards. Isn't that just great? Yeah. So, who do we have left? We have The Brutalist, we have Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Again, as much as I love Wicked, I guess I understand that they made up a lot of the score, but it still relies pretty heavily on the score from the stage musical. So I would rule out Wicked and just push it to the side and would have put Challengers in that slot. Amelia Perez, I also don't think it has that great of a score, but that's just me. It's down to The Brutalist, Conclave, and The Wild Robot. If I were picking, my vote would go to The Wild Robot. That score really blew me away from the very first time I saw the film. I was immediately taken aback by The Wild Robot score. I ran home and had to look up who composed it. I downloaded the big song when he learns how to fly. It's great. It's amazing. It did win the SCL, which is like the songwriters leagues and lyricists, songwriters, composers, and lyricists award for studio film. So it does have a win under its belt, and it would have my vote. However, it's not going to win. I think this is a pretty locked up category. Best original score is going to The Brutalist. It has the BAFTA. It also has SCL, but for independent feature, The Brutalist is taking this one without much competition since Challengers isn't here. Also, though, Queer and Doom Part 2, you were robbed as well. If Wicked can get in, Doom Part 2 should have been allowed in. That's just me. All right. International feature. Best international feature. We have I'm Still Here. We have The Girl with the Needle. We have Amelia Perez. We have The Seed of the Sacred Fig. And Flow. So for my vote, it's Flow. I loved Flow. I think it's great. I think it's really sophisticated. I love that an animated film snuck in here again. It's our second one in the last several years, so I'm happy to see that. I would love Flow to randomly win. It's not going to, but I would love to see it. I think this award comes down to the 2 films that are nominated for Best Film, Best Picture. Amelia Perez versus I'm Still Here. Now, Academy, if you were smart, you would vote for the country that made a film set within their own country. This is maybe, the one from Brazil. Yeah, I think I'm Still Here out of those 2. Please pull off the upset. I just don't know that I'm willing to predict it. Amelia Perez still won that BAFTA award. even after the nonsense that came out. Obviously, it won the Critics' Choice, it won the Golden Globe. It has no chance in Best Picture anymore. And I think they're still going to give it to frickin' Amelia Perez. So, my official prediction is Amelia Perez. I hope I'm wrong. This is one that I'm desperately hoping I get wrong on the score sheet. Please, Academy, think. Think! Okay, adapted screenplay. This one is interesting enough. I chose to side with the National Board of Review when it came to this list, and my pick on who should win for adapted screenplay is Sing Sing. I think the screenplay was really fantastic. It carried this film. It was sophisticated, just great work all the way around. Unfortunately, I don't think it really has a shot to win. I think this one actually feels kind of like a done deal to me for adapted screenplay. Maybe an outside shot for Nickel Boys to pull the upset because it's also a Best Picture nominee. I think it has love and maybe they'll want to award it somewhere. But who will win? Conclave. It's a Best Picture favorite right now. It is the BAFTA winner, the Critics' Choice winner, and the Golden Globe winner. And it wasn't actually eligible for the Writers Guild. So might have won that too. It's kind of swept up. So I think Conclave will be taking home adapted screenplay. Now we move to the more competitive screenplay this year with original screenplay. Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, which is the real random outlier here, and then The Substance. Now, who I think should win? The Substance. It's a daring screenplay. You want to talk about original screenplay? That is The Substance. A lot of these other ones, I mean, yeah, they're original because they're not based off of anything, but what kind of flavor, what original taste did they bring to the category? Not as much as The Substance does, I'll tell you that right now. So I would vote for The Substance hands down. But I think it's going to come down to Honora versus A Real Pain. Of the two, I would very much love to see A Real Pain pull this off. It did win at the BAFTAs, which was a good sign, pushing it back. However, Honora won the Writers Guild. So basically, which way do you go? Well, I tend to go with the Best Picture nominee in these cases and categories, particularly when that nominee is a favorite to win Best Picture. So I think our two favorites in Best Picture are going to take home their writing awards and make it all the more nail biting as we lead up to that final award of the night. Honora is my prediction for Best Original Screenplay. All right. Next up, we have Best Film Editing. An interesting list. Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked, which, okay, you know I love Wicked, so I don't care about that. Where's Dune Part 2? Where's The Substance? You want to talk about loud, awesome editing? There's The Substance. And y'all watched it. Clearly, it's up and down this awards nominations. Okay, I guess. Out of this lot, who should win? Conclave. I think it's really tightly edited. In contrast to some of these other films, it gets to the point and it gets to it really efficiently. It's not as flashy as Honora, maybe, or certainly not as flashy and overly gaudy as something like Amelia Perez, but it's really good editing. I also think it will win. It won the BAFTA, which is really my main thing to go off of. I know we have Ace as well. I think Conclave is going to win this. Also setting it up nicely for a run at picture, maybe. All right, next up, you know, maybe my favorite category of the night, at least half the time. It's Best Animated Feature Film. And they got it right. Look, I loved Transformers 1. I wouldn't have been mad if it snuck in here. But these were the 5 best for me personally. These were the 5 to put in for Best Animated Feature. And honestly, it's the only category they got right top to bottom, in my opinion. We have Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. And I think we can just disregard BAFTA in this. They voted for Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. It's a British beloved series. Of course, they were going to vote for Wallace and Gromit. I don't think it has any shot at winning the Oscar. I also don't think Inside Out 2 has a shot at winning the Oscar, which is a crazy thing to say about a Pixar movie heading into Oscars night. Once again, for like the second year in a row, they're just kind of nominated. Though I do think Inside Out 2 had a better shot than Elemental last year. Sure. And then we have Memoir of a Snail. I think the nomination is the award for that film. So that brings us to Flow versus The Wild Robot. A second year in a row where we have like a major brand in animation. Last year it was Sony. This year the American brand is DreamWorks with The Wild Robot, a box office success, the big animated beloved film of the year, against a much smaller foreign language or foreign produced film. Though last year was Studio Ghibli, who definitely has a lot more might behind it than Flow does this year. Flow has stayed alive. It would set records. It became the lowest budgeted animated film ever to win the Golden Globe. It won that Golden Globe. It won the Annie for Independent Film of the Year, and it won the NBR, National Board of Review, for Best Animated Film of the Year. So there is a lot of love, a lot of passion behind Flow. It also got another nomination in Best International Feature. I would not be mad if Flow won. However, my personal pick on who should win, it's The Wild Robot. It was my favorite. It was one of my top 5 favorite films of 2025. Honestly, you can't go wrong with this entire category, and you can't go wrong with either Flow or The Wild Robot. But my pick on who should win is The Wild Robot. And I have to say, as close and as neck and neck as this has been all season long, I'm going to stick with it. I think The Wild Robot will win Best Animated Feature. It's not a sequel or a midquel like Spider-Verse was. It's a beloved storybook. Flow got another Oscar nominee, but the Wild Robot got 2 additional Oscar nominations for Best Original Score and Best Sound, which is really a great nomination for an animated film to get. Now, it did miss out on Best Original Song, but it's also won the Art Directors Guild. It won the Visual Effects Society Award for Animation. It won the Annie Award for Best Studio Animation. It won the Producers Guild for Animation. And it won the Critics' Choice. I think at this time, the momentum seems to be heavily in the Wild Robot's favor. So that's who I'm picking to win. Though if they announce Flow Sunday, I'll be just as happy to see the little animated cat that could take it all to the bank. All right, moving right along, we have Best Cinematography. Another solid category. We have The Brutalist. We have Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. Now, just this week, the Society of Cinematographers really threw us a curveball and gave their award to Maria, which I live for. And then we saw the Critics' Choice give their award to Nosferatu. But BAFTA went with The Brutalist. So we have really been all over the board when it comes to cinematography. Now, this actually is one of those categories that can give us a really off-the-wall winner, much like film editing. So what are we going to do? We're going to go with one of the Best Picture nominees when it comes to cinematography, or are we going to go with one of these other films? Maybe they want to show some love. Maybe they saw that Maria got no love and it is an absolutely stunning film. Maybe Nosferatu and that stunning cinematography, they seem to like it, not love it, but they liked Nosferatu. Does it get a tech sneak? If it were up to me, my pick on who should win is Nosferatu. Honestly, it's Nosferatu and then Maria really close underneath. But Nosferatu was just a really gorgeous film that gave absolutely stunning cinematography that perfectly elevated the movie. On who I think will win, I think it's going to end up going to The Brutalist. That's my pick, my official prediction. Stamp it in. It was shot very old school in every asset and faction. It feels like a very bygone era epic. And I think that is right up the Academy's wheelhouse. So they're going to end up giving it to The Brutalist, which is a stunning film. It does have beautiful cinematography. So I'm not too mad at it. All right. Now on to our final stretch. And we kick things off with supporting actor. For a male performer, Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. I'm going to be real honest. I think supporting actor may very well be my least favorite category this year. There were so many amazing supporting actor performances, some really fun, scene-stealing supporting actor performances, others that just ripped your heart out, some newcomers on the scene, and they all just got snubbed. Like they were just completely and totally ignored. From titans in the industry to Clarence Macklin just absolutely killing it in his first role. All just ignored for much lesser performances, in my opinion. I have not watched The Apprentice. I know this may be controversial to say because a lot of people were very upset with this opinion. I'm not going to watch The Apprentice. I have no interest in watching The Apprentice. I already know what that man is evil. I don't need a film to tell me that, first of all, or I don't need a film that plays it anywhere towards the middle or humanizes or gives anything. No, no, thank you. I have to experience that orange buffoon every single day, ad nauseum, just a barrage of it all the time. I don't want to watch it in a movie. I'm sorry. So I'm sure Jeremy Strong and later Sebastian Stan are great in the movie. No, thank you. I'm not watching. Best of luck to you. This one, who cares? Honestly, at the end of the day, who I think should win is actually Guy Pearce. I thought he was fantastic, actually. One of his best performances in years. Really, who I think should win is actually Denzel Washington or Clarence Macklin, both of whom were left on the cutting room floor. So I have to pick from the list. And I'm going Guy Pearce. Who will win? We already know. This is one of the easiest picks of the night. Kieran Culkin. A lead performance is sweeping supporting actor. Isn't that fun? Speaking of lead performances, sweeping through the supporting category, let's talk about Best Supporting Actress. Another category I was a bit underwhelmed by, but not quite as much. I think this was actually just a very underwhelming year in the supporting actress category. Sorry, not sorry, but Monica Barbaro in A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande in Wicked, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, and Zoe Saldana in Emilia Perez. This is an easy one for me, who I think should win. She's right here. All over my shirt, all over my shirt. She's over there on the edge. It's Ariana Grande. She was killed it in Wicked and really surprised me because I didn't watch Victorious or Sam and Cat. Is that the one she was on? Whatever Nickelodeon show it was. That was not my era, and I did not watch it. I'm sorry, but I didn't know her chops like this, and she killed it in Wicked. Stood toe to toe with some of the best actors out there right now, including Cynthia Erivo. So she gets my vote full-heartedly. If it were up to me, Margaret Qualley would be in, Zoe Saldana would be out. But Zoe Saldana is going to win this award. We all know it. It's a lock, the next biggest lock of the night, right here. And it's actually even more egregious than Kieran Culkin winning for supporting actor because, well, Zoe Saldana literally has the most screen time in Amelia Perez, y'all. That's right. It's not Carla. No, it's Zoe. Also, we literally start our story with Zoe Saldana's character a good portion before we even get to Amelia Perez herself. Even when we do, I feel the story is very much centered on Zoe Saldana and her character. We follow her when she leaves and she goes to do other things. We follow her even right there at the end. It literally starts and ends with her out of our main cast. How that's considered a supporting performance, I have literally no clue. Zero. At least arguments can be made for performances like Ariana Grande or performances like Margaret Qualley or performances even like Kieran Culkin. I can hear the arguments for them being considered supporting. I do not understand how Zoe got into this category, like at all. At all, at all. And yet she's sweeping it. So that's fun, huh? Yay. Can we please implement some rules on what can be done to submit supporting versus lead? Because this is starting to get really ridiculous. So Amelia Perez is winning with Zoe Saldana. Great. All right. Actor in the leading role. Slightly more competitive. Slightly more competitive. And yes, I fully agree. Supporting is a mess. We need rules. Because I'm tired. I am tired. All right, so we have actor in the leading role, Adrian Brody, the brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Once again, good on you, Sebastian. I just wish your nomination was for a different man. That's me. Otherwise, they're all good. Adrian Brody has an Oscar, though, playing a very similar subject matter, very similar time frame. Yeah, so he would probably be my next out after Sebastian. And then we have Ray Fiennes, Coleman Domingo, and Timothée, who all deliver great performances. Ray Fiennes, what kind of disrespect? We're seeing these honest Oscar ballots, the anonymous ones. 2 people have said they aren't voting for him because he already has one. No, he doesn't. I know we all think, he probably should have won for Schindler's List. He didn't win. So he doesn't have one. Adrian Brody has one. The one y'all are voting for, the one that's been winning a lot of awards this season, that's the guy who has one. Ray Fiennes, who has given us a varied body of work in a historically amazing career, doesn't have an Oscar on his mantle. And yet you're using a past win to justify not voting for him. Great. Love that. Love that for Academy Award voters. Anyway, I would love to hear his name called. But it's definitely between Timothée and Adrian Brody. My personal pick actually would be Coleman Domingo. I think he was fantastic. He's another actor who bloomed a little bit later. He doesn't have this huge span like Ray Fiennes with the blockbusters down to indie amazingness, but he's amazing in literally everything he ever does. And I thought he was just fantastic in Sing Sing. My second choice probably would be Ray, but then third is Timothée, who I would really love to see this, and I, in my head, would just take it as a Dune Part 2, Call Me By Your Name, dual, apology from the Academy. Sorry, we didn't even nominate you for Dune or Dune Part 2 or any of these other amazing performances you've given over the years, even though you're only 30. For whatever reason, the Academy does just, hate to award young male actors. They hate it. They refuse. They're like, we'll give you an award when you turn 50 like Leo, okay? I know you can give the best performance year after year, but until you're an older man, we're not giving you ish. But who will win? I think a big reason they're not voting for Timothée. They're going to give it to Adrian Brody, y'all. I know we all got our hopes up with SAG, and SAG did show us maybe, just maybe, the AI Hungarian accent turned off fellow actors. They said we cannot award a performance that used AI. I just don't know that's going to be enough to deter the Academy. And I think they're still going to give it to Adrian Brody. So that's my pick on who will win. At least it was fun for a night, right? All right. Now, our real only big competitive acting award. Can somebody tell me why is it that lead actress, year in and year out, is always the most competitive of the four acting categories? It seems like the supporting categories get sewn up kind of early. Lead actor, okay, a lot of times we have a pretty clear path on who's winning that. And then lead actress, every single year, two women are going back and forth, BAFTA, SAG, Golden Globe, Critic Choice, like back to back to boom, boom, throwing punches. And we have no idea who's winning every single year. For once, I would like my favorite to be a clear winner in support or in lead actress. Please, I'm begging. This year would have been the year I would have loved for lead actress to be sewn up, but it's not. So, who do we got? Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. So, two ladies have no shot. Carla, you know, ma'am. I'm shook that you're even showing your face at the ceremony and that Netflix is actually paying for it. If I were Carla, I would have submitted an actual apology and disappeared. Just completely vanished off of the face of the earth. If I were Carla, I never would have tweeted that bullshit that she spewed ad nauseum for years on end on her social media, all the way up until just recent. Like, this is not some teenager. She just tweeted a lot of this and even said some racist ish about the Academy and their ceremony for Black and Korean people. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Girl. Unfortunately, I also think Cynthia Erivo has no chance to win. Yeah, it really makes me mad because Jacques, he had the audacity to make that face when they announced her nomination. Sir, unlike Carla in your film, the lead in Amelia Perez, Cynthia didn't need AI to autocorrect and auto tune her voice. She can actually do it, and she's going to show you. Yeah, you're gonna have to sit there, Jacques. Please pan the camera to him when they do the Wicked montage at the beginning of the show. I want to see that old nasty Frenchman's face when we get a full Wicked showcase. And his film, who has two nominees for Best Original Song, was left off the broadcast because didn't nobody want to hear that bull-ish. Show me his face. And show me his face when Cynthia belts the hell out of Defying Gravity. That's what I want to see. But she has no chance at winning this award. I think the big upset that could happen is still Fernanda Torres. She won the Golden Globe. She's been competitive. I give her the slightest chance at somehow pulling off an upset. But we all know this comes down to Demi Moore versus Mikey Madison. Now, unlike lead actor, where they refuse to award young men, they love to award young women. Hollywood loves an ingenue. It's actually kind of indicative of Hollywood in general. They love women when they're young and try to discard them as they get older. Now that's changed somewhat. And young men, you know, heartthrobs, they see you as just kind of a sexy boy in Hollywood and don't take you seriously when you're young, but let you go on and award you and distinguish you in your career as you get older. So, Mikey Madison won BAFTA and made us all scared. However, they did go head to head at the Golden Globes, and Demi Moore won. And then she also won Critics' Choice, and she won SAG. But we all know this is really like a SAG versus BAFTA thing that's been going on. Now, last year they went with BAFTA and gave it to Emma Stone. But the year before that, they sided with SAG and gave it to Michelle Yeoh. What do they do this year? Now, my personal vote 100% goes to Demi Moore. Give her this award, please, Jesus, please. This is the one. That's the problem. Support or lead actress is always one of the ones I'm most passionate about, and it's always one of the most like intense races of the night. It has me like heart palpitations. I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God, it's the one I'm invested in. Please don't F it up, Academy. Last year, they kind of effed it up, in my opinion, but that's just me. Don't do it again. Give this award to Demi Moore. Ultimately, ugh. So Mikey Madison is in the stronger Best Picture contender. She's in one that could actually win Best Picture. Substance is nominated. That's great. It has no chance of winning. However, the reason I'm going to still predict Demi Moore, I think she has a very Brendan Fraser, Jamie Lee Curtis-esque narrative. The overdue blockbuster starlet who hasn't gotten respect in her industry. She's nailed every single one of these acceptance speeches and nailed home the very theme of her own film and how it relates to Hollywood. And if you know, actress has a pretty strong correlation down to hair and makeup. If you heard earlier, I predicted Best Makeup and Hairstyling is going to The Substance. And actually, actress and actor, because we were talking about Timothée Chalamet. Well, he lost to Makeup and Hairstyling for Call Me By Your Name. That's a different story. But Makeup and Hairstyling has a great correlation to the acting awards. And I think Demi Moore is going to have that carry her up to take the win. I'll be very disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I think Mikey Madison is good in Anora, but she's pretty low on my list in this category here. She actually took the spot of several other veteran actresses that I would have put in over her. I'm just saying. So, please, Demi, you're doing this for Lupita. You are doing this. You are doing this for Flo, Miss Florence Pugh. You are doing this for Toni Collette. You are doing this for every horror starlet that has been snubbed from the Academy for decades at this point, girl. Please. Yes, Tyler, yes. The horror genre is behind you, Demi. You're doing this for Naomi Scott, who didn't get any respect just last year, girl. You are doing this for all of us horror fans out here. So let's hope. I'm telling you, I'm going to be disappointed. I know a lot of people will cheer for Mikey. I'll be very disappointed. So we'll see. All right, director. Best director. This one is another one that I think is actually very close. Oh, and it was hard for me to predict. But another hot mess category. Denis, whose wife did you steal? Whose dog did you run over with your car? Whose car did you key? Because they refuse to acknowledge you, sir. They absolutely pay Denis Villeneuve dust. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? Dune Part 2 was not one of the 5 best directed films of 2025. How could you, anyone with eyeballs, please step forward, watch Dune Part 2 and then watch Amelia Perez, or watch Anora, or watch A Complete Unknown, and in any sort of good conscience say, yeah, those all were better directed than this masterpiece over here, Dune Part 2. And then we had Luca, who gave us 2 amazing, very different, wonderful films last year. Paid dust on both ends. Great. Robert Eggers, they hate you too. Probably they actually hate Robert Eggers more than they hate Luca and more than they hate Denis. So we're left with this crop, huh? What's Amelia Perez doing here? Get that out of here. Really, just one of the favorites to win this category. Anora. What? What the hell was so good about the directing in Anora? Somebody tell me. I'm begging because I don't see it. A Complete Unknown is fine. It's well directed. I'll give it that. Okay, cool. The Brutalist. Oh, God. I can't stand Brady Corbett's speeches, to be honest. I can't. I can't listen to them. They make me so annoyed. But this film itself has a nice direction to it. But for me, there's only one choice on who should win. If you can't tell, I love me some horror, and I love The Substance. It's Coralie Fargeat. Okay, Fargeat. Yes, Coralie. She should be winning this. If you saw the behind the scenes once again, the direction was amazing. Sorry, not sorry. This should be a runaway for her in this category, in my eyes. And that's who I would be voting for. Who will win? Well, it comes down to the Directors Guild Award winner, Sean Baker, for Anora, the BAFTA and Golden Globes winner, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. Um, who I think will win is Brady for The Brutalist. I know a lot of people have switched over to Sean Baker winning this award, and a lot of people are predicting him to win. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if he won. However, I don't think the Academy can overlook a 4-hour epic. They are salivating over that 4-hour, big old school film. He shot it on film with old cameras. It looks well crafted. I mean, come on. Even again, if you have eyeballs and you watch Honora and you watch The Brutalist, how are you telling me that these two are really even comparable? If it comes down to those two, The Brutalist should be walking away with this hands down and forcing me to listen to Brady wax on as a very self-important director speech. So hopefully I get to hear that again, because I can't. We're really about to give Sean Baker a freaking Best Director award. Okay, well, hopefully not. So my prediction is The Brutalist. Now, Best Picture, the big one, the one we're all here for. No challengers, huh? Y'all really just have the shortest attention span possible. But we couldn't get the challengers. Could we at least get Sing Sing? How about Nosferatu? No? Oh, okay. Can't have two horror films. Oh, I see. God forbid. God forbid. Well then, we're still gonna put Amelia Perez in, huh? Okay, that was your favorite, actually. That was the favorite to win Best Picture about a month ago before we all saw Carla's tweets. Okay, I see the game we're playing here, Academy. Best Picture, Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now I know, again, I'm all wickeded out here, and believe me, I would love nothing more, actually, than Wicked winning Best Picture. Just to watch the utter meltdown happen across film Twitter, film Sky, all across these little people. I cannot believe my eyes. You film Twitter folks, the film Twitter cinephiles, I have Wicked last on my Best Picture ranking. That's right, even below Amelia Perez, because I am sophisticated, darling. Oh, Wicked. Ugh. Girl, you think that makes you look cool? You think that makes you look real cool, huh? Like you mean something. Wicked last on your ranking. If you watch Amelia Perez and you watch Wicked, and you seriously can look me dead in the face and say that Wicked is not a better musical, the worst musical of the two, and you think that makes you look smart and like you have taste, more power to you, girl. More power to you, I suppose. Anyway, however, Wicked would actually not be my vote. I just would love to see the meltdown. It's number 3 for me, though. It's third place. If I'm doing preferential ballot, Wicked comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, you've heard me talk about it. You've heard me love on it. You heard me give it director, actress, a bunch of awards here tonight. Number 2 on my preferential ballot is The Substance. Amazing horror, finally getting some respect. Yes, God. Yes, thank you. The Substance. But it's actually not really that difficult. It's kind of a no-brainer for who I would personally put number 1 on my preferential ballot. It's Dune Part 2. If you watched, I had that as my favorite film of the year last year. I legitimately think it's damn near a perfect film, top to bottom, perfectly crafted, perfectly executed. I mean, what more do you want from a film than Dune Part 2? I simply don't understand. I don't get it. It has no chance at winning this award, but that's who should win this award. Dune Part 2 finally put some respect on genre again, finally put some respect on Denis on this type of blockbuster filmmaking. You all are complaining about Wicked as blockbuster filmmaking and the way it looks and this and that and the third. Then what are you doing with Dune? You're still disrespecting Dune, which by all measures, you cannot sit and tell me is not a masterfully crafted blockbuster. But it won't win. This is definitely down to a few select films. And I think early on, it felt like The Brutalist was the odds-on favorite to win Best Picture. And then Amelia Perez grabbed that torch and started running for the finish line until Amelia Perez herself grabbed the stick and threw it in the bike spokes and sent that tumbling. And now that's been escorted on out, leaving us with two films left to battle it out: Anora and Conclave. Now, Anora had a nice little run. It had Directors Guild, it had Writers Guild, and it capped it all off with a nice little Producers Guild award. Producers Guild, who usually award big films like Doom Part 2 or Wicked, went for this little movie, Anora. But then it got stopped dead in its tracks when Conclave won BAFTA, and then it went on to win SAG for Best Ensemble. Now, more often than not, when you get the PGA, DGA, and WGA back to back to back, you're in a good position, even over somebody who wins SAG and BAFTA. But I'm still going back and forth, y'all. I am still not sure Anora has what it takes. If you look at the winners of the night, maybe it pulls Best Actress. Maybe it pulls Best Director. Maybe it can pull off the writing. Has no chance in a lot of these other ones. It is a very, very weak frontrunner. Every chance it goes head to head to get some momentum, including Golden Globes, including BAFTA, including even when Mikey won at BAFTA, they still said, move, we're giving it to Conclave. What really is there? Does it even feel like a Best Picture winner? To me, no. And I'm wondering if maybe the Academy is starting to feel the same way. Conclave, however, does align much more with a Best Picture feel. I think it's going to win for writing. I think it's going to win for editing. And I think that's a pretty good 1-2 combo to lead it up to picture. As Tyler said earlier, the Pope the Pope is staying alive so he can see Conclave take home picture. I also think one other thing that is in its favor, Anora, what's the message? It's a very flimsy, in my opinion, very shallow and actually somewhat mishandled message by the end. Conclave has a clear message, a clear protest to the political environment and what's happening in the United States. It felt like Amelia Perez was the Academy protest, a trans Mexican story, even though it's not really Mexican at all, but so that's how we stick it to this administration. Say Amelia Perez is the Best Picture, but then, well, part of that progression was problematic as hell and a super regressive person. So they had to pivot away. I'm wondering, do they push for the next best option that has trans representation, that has kindness, that has elevated ways of politically thinking and progressiveness, like Conclave, because they couldn't award their first choice Amelia Perez anymore? In my opinion, that's the key for Conclave coming out on top. I know everybody's predicting Anora still. It still feels like it's probably the winner. But right now, it just feels like Conclave is the Best Picture for 2024. So I'm going with my gut. I'm going to go with Conclave. I think you combine BAFTA and you combine SAG together, and that's where they end up. At least I hope I'm right on this one, y'all. I really want Conclave to beat Anora. So, partially what I want to happen, but also partially what I think is going to happen on Sunday. So, that's it. My pick for Best Picture is Conclave. So, I want to hear. We've been seeing it here in the chat with Tyler. Thank you so much for talking along with me today, Tyler. But if you're watching the replay, if you actually had plans on this Friday night, unlike me, go ahead, leave all your predictions, who you think should win and who you think actually is going to win at the 2025 Academy Awards. I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions, and I can't wait to tally it all up and see how we each do with our predictions this year. Also, are you like me? Have you found this year to be very underwhelming with award season? I have, but that's just me. I want to thank you all so much for your continued support. I love you all for watching, and I'll see you Sunday night at the Oscars and with my next video. Bye.